Debate. Election news from where you live.
And welcome back to the debate for Tippecanoe County Sheriff. We appreciate your forbearance there. This next question goes to Jason Huber first, and the question actually came from viewers during the debate, and it's two separate questions, but it's two different ways of asking the same question. So I'm gonna give you the question and then the specifics. What is your plan to battle the bullying epidemic in schools? The second part of that question, the second viewer wanted to know specifically as it pertains to LGBTQA students.
So the first part is how do we address bullying? Again, it goes back to that line of communication that we have and the ability for students to feel safe in talking to school administrators, teachers, counselors, SROs, police officers on the street, and their parents, right? A lot of this starts at home. Building that and encouraging that family dynamic and that family cohesiveness within your walls to be able to teach your students how to talk to them when there's issues, how to feel comfortable going to talk to an adult if there's an issue. That's where it starts. Family values and the family core, we've seen an erosion of that, and it's a disturbing trend that we see. So if we can help bring that back and help bring parents back into that fold, that'll be a great first step. As far as the LGBTQ group, we have to be able to. It's non-discriminatory. Doesn't matter what group you're affiliated with. It's not how you identify. We want to create a safe environment for everybody to feel safe and have the confidence that when they come talk to a school resource officer, a member of our sheriff's office, that they're doing so and being treated with the respect that they absolutely deserve to be treated with in difficult situations.
Mr. Goldsmith, 2 minutes.
Yeah, the bullying, I just had a phone call about this last week. Again, it starts at home, but it also, the kids have to be confident in being able to report it at the schools. Or when they go home, that mom or dad or aunt, uncle, grandma, grandpa, or whatever is going to call the school and start that conversation. That it gets to our SROs who then can interact in a positive way with that child to give the child confidence to report it. That's across the board. That's with every student. It doesn't matter their belief, anything, they all have to have that confidence. But it comes down to training for our school resource officers and sending them to school so they understand the language and the acronyms and the abbreviations. They understand all those things and the words and the way they're using them. That's what we need to do. It's training our staff and then taking that back into the schools, building those relationships with the students, and then they feel comfortable coming and telling someone. Because I couldn't even imagine. I didn't go through that. So I couldn't imagine going to school and being bullied and being scared. Kids aren't supposed to go to school scared. Kids shouldn't be scared anywhere. But coming to school should be a safe place to learn, and that's what we need to provide for them. And that's what our office needs to do with the school resource officers that we have.
Mr. Huber, rebuttal.
There's no doubt training plays a significant role in this. There's no doubt that respect plays a significant role in this. There's no doubt that the family dynamic plays a significant role in this. I was once told an old adage that I've carried with me throughout my 26 years, and that's when I speak to somebody, I speak to them like my late mother standing behind them. And when you treat somebody with that amount of respect, no matter what it is that they're going through, they have the ability to want to open up to you and share and be comfortable with how it is that you're addressing their needs.
Mr. Goldsmith?
No, I agree with what he's saying. You've got to when I say get down to their level, I don't mean talk down to them. I mean sit down at a table across from them in a chair and have a conversation with them and make them feel comfortable so the kids can tell their story. I've been through the course for forensic interviewing of children, and you can take those things into the schools with you and have conversations with the kids and the staff so they feel comfortable, and let them tell their story and get it out, and we put a stop to this bullying. It's difficult. It's been happening since schools were open, but we can do it.
All right, Mr. Goldsmith, the next question goes to you, and the question is, the labor shortage affects law enforcement as much as it does any other industry. What strategies would you employ to recruit and to retain employees?
So I just got back from a sheriff's office conference early in the spring, and we went around the room, all the sheriffs that were there, there's probably 75 of us in the room, talking about how short we are. Surprisingly enough, we're way ahead of the game. So when we were done with that, I was meeting with people in the hallway asking how we do it. We're 3 short on the road, we're 15 short in the jail, 1 short in dispatch, and 1 short in transport. We have processes in place for all of them, and I'm confident we'll be full staff. The hardest part is our jail. But in order to draw them, you have to create an environment where people want to come to work. And 4 years ago at my first budget hearing, I told the council, I will be able to make a place, an environment where people will want to come to work. Then they're going to have to pay them. That time's now. We have correction officers that make $43,000, and it's absolutely ridiculous. They can't have a family, they can't have a home, it's hard to buy a car, and they're leaving. And I tell every one of them, put me down as a reference. I got your back. I support you. I understand it's difficult, but I keep having those conversations with the council and the commissioners. I'm not pounding on a podium. We're having them to the side and trying to figure out a way to make it work, because we know times are tough. But when you're talking 3% raise and inflation's at 9%, you just cut them 6%, and they're leaving, and I get it. But how do you retain them? You've got to have an environment where they want to come to work. I got a popcorn machine in my office, and every once in a while I put popcorn in there and pass out popcorn. We got music going. I go around, I talk to them, I walk back in the jail and talk to them. You got to be part of the team. I don't believe in, hey, do as I say, not as I do. And I don't believe in anything that I'm too good to do something. Captain Lehman and we've unclogged toilets together. But that's how you retain people. They're on your team. We're in this together. That's the same thing for this community. We all, if you live in Tippecanoe County, we're all on the same team, period.
Mr. Huber?
Well, it's no doubt that the jail suffers the brunt of the shortage. Having worked back there when I first started in 1996, know the trials and the challenges that every one of those corrections officers face. When I walked in as a road officer, I could look at the sheriff's office and said, that's where I want to be. I could see that pathway. When you walk into the jail as a corrections officer, the best that you can do is to be at a shift lead. I would civilianize the jail operations, make a pathway so it's easy to see when I walk in, I can be jail commander one day. There's promotions and executive levels that I can get to. So we make a career instead of a job. That's the first thing I would do. We have to continue to demand from our commissioners, from our council members, for better pay, for better benefits, for higher education reimbursement, for career opportunities, professional development. We have to continue to do that, not ask, demand. If you have to bring all 170 individuals into that room and have them stand behind you and say, you tell them that they're not worth it. You tell them that they're not worth a 10% raise, that put their lives on the line every single day, whether it's in the confines of a jail or it's out on the street. Conversations are great, but at some point in time, those conversations have to turn a little more forceful. Not disrespectful, forceful. Because if you want to go to bat for somebody, that's how it's done.
Mr. Goldsmith, the rebuttal.
You got to listen to your staff. When I came into office, I met with every single person one-on-one. No time limit. Tell me your aches and pains. What would you do if you're in the position? What do you want to change? I took notes, and then the team started working on it. If reelected, I want to do the same thing. We have new people there. They haven't worked with me that long. Some of them are a little nervous to come in and talk to the boss. My door's always open. But you have to have those conversations with your team. You have to have those conversations with the boots on the ground that are doing the job, asking, what do you need? And then I'll stop, because he told me to stop.
Mr. Huber, another 30.
That's all great, But at some point in time, you have to look at what resources do we have currently, not where do we want to get to. We always want to be fully staffed, and we always want to work towards that. But under the confines of which we operate now, what can we do more efficiently and more effectively? How can we allocate resources to reduce those number of EDOs, to reduce the number of transports that are going on, to have more manpower in certain positions or at certain shift levels? A complete staffing analysis will help you see where those gaps are and where your strengths are, so we can operate more efficiently and more effectively.
And Mr. Huber, you get the next question, and this, I believe, also comes from another viewer during the debate. What kind of technology or supplies are needed right now for deputies who are out on the street?
Well, as I've mentioned in many platforms, I would bring data-driven policing to the forefront of our operations. It's 2022. If we're not using data to work more efficiently, more effectively, shame on us. We have to be able to see where our strengths are and, more importantly, where our weaknesses are. Where is it that we can supplement assets, and where is it that we can bolster them? As far as equipment on the street, there was a news article that kind of misquoted what I said when I said that the Sheriff's Department didn't have certain assets. We have to make sure our officers have the best. Never said that we didn't have them, but we have to have the best. There's no ballistic shields out on the street right now. There's not one ballistic shield in this school or any other school. So if we're going to make our schools and we're going to make everything more a safer environment, allocating resources to where we need them at the times that we need them are paramount. We can't sit there and say this is the way we've always done things. We have to be proactive in the way we address. We have to look at the best technology. We have to look at the best resources. We have to look at the best opportunities to make sure that our officers are safe every single day and that they work more efficiently and more effectively than they ever have, given our staffing resources, given the staffing challenges that we face.
Mr. Goldsmith?
We're always looking at how can we get better. We have technology, Heimdall, that sits in my office, that sits on the right screen. You can see where officers are going, where the hot spots are in the county. You can send them messages. You can click on something that gives you all the information. But again, the citizens know where those problems are. I know my phone blows up every day with messages, Facebook messages, emails, speeding vehicles, so-and-so selling drugs. We have to have those relationships with our citizens. Now, yes, technology, I totally agree. We need that. So what we do is we send people to training. Again, we've increased it by over 200% since I've been in. Bring those ideas back and we see what works. As far as equipment, all they got to do is ask. I have them fill it out every year, their wish list. I turn it in. I leave the budget and everything in the conference room. Everybody has access to that. They see what we're asking for. Cuts are made. Sometimes, yes, you have to cut equipment. It's part of the process. There's only so much money to go around. And we have the biggest budget. We've got to be fiscally responsible. We have to help other people. If we get this, the highway department doesn't get that. If we get this, it's just, we all have to work together. But as far as equipment, our department is better equipped and well-trained than it ever has been since I've been there. I will say this, moving forward, any other sheriff, if he wins the election, I want him to send us forward. And I want the next guy or the next girl, anybody, keep moving us forward. That's what we need. And I'm confident that's what we'll do because every sheriff wants to do better and every sheriff before him wants that sheriff that replaced him to succeed.
Mr. Huber, do you have a rebuttal?
A slight one. We talked about Heimdall and we've talked about data, and all that's great, but if you don't have a strategic initiative, if you don't know where it is, if the men and women that work for you don't know the direction that we're headed, how we're going to get there, how it is that we're going to solve problems, all the technology, everything in the world doesn't matter. Leadership from the top, the set of expectations, what it is our daily objectives are, what it is our strategic initiatives are to reduce crime, to reduce gun violence, to reduce domestic violent assaults, to reduce car thefts. All that stuff has to be done, but it has to be done through strategic initiatives, which are not being done at this point. Sorry to run over.
And Mr. Goldsmith?
You know who does that? It's the lieutenant and sergeants that run those shifts, and they communicate with each other. They know what I want. I want them out running the red and blue lights. I want them pulling people over. I want them serving warrants. Nobody's ever told them not to arrest people or turn a blind eye. It's bad. At one point, we ran the numbers, and people are doing transports. I get it. But if I'm leading some of our people in traffic stops as the sheriff of this county, that's ridiculous. So we've had a conversation with them. This is what I expect. They know what I expect. They know what the citizens expect. They're getting better. We're trying to do things to free up their time so they can do those things. They know what they need to do. There's thousands of warrants in there. They can serve them anytime they want. We have a 603-bed hotel down there, and we'll fill that thing up. We're not going to turn a blind eye to crime in Tippecanoe County as long as I'm sitting in the office.
Okay, now, for timing purposes, the candidates have agreed that there will be a question. For timing purposes, the candidates have agreed that there will be a question with no rebuttal. This is that question. Please describe, Mr. Goldsmith, you first, the current programs in the jail that you believe are most effective and which ones you'd like to see changed or even dropped.
The most effective has been the Q360 program. At one time, everybody that completed that program had not come back to jail. Last week, I was having a conversation with the medical staff and learned that we've had 21 people complete the program, which, by the way, it's voluntary. A judge can't sentence them to it. They're not going to get a time cut from it. They all sit in a room and work together. But 19 have stayed out. 2 of them have come back. That's been the most successful program. I've gotten calls from family members that say, I'm finally getting to talk to my son, my daughter. They sound clean, sober. They know they got a plan now. And sitting down with them and interviewing them for jobs. I mean, you can ask them a lot of questions that you can't because of HR reasons, but you can ask those questions when you're sitting back in the pod talking to them. That's been very successful. Our medication-assisted treatment, I think we need to grow that, but that's growing with the partners in the community and lining those people up with the services that fit their needs. Place A may work for this person, place B will work for that person. But when we tell people this is what you need, just ask them what they need. That's what we need to do, and that's what we're trying to do with the Q360 program. This jail-based competency restoration thing is huge. We're the second jail in the history of Indiana to do this, and it's been successful. We got the first person to competency in about, I could get this wrong, but it's about 38 days, something like that. We will grow that. I would like to see more programming. That's going to come once the new building's done and we get people out and we open up space in the back.
All right, Mr. Huber.
Well, it's difficult for me to answer that question, not being intimately involved in what programs are there. More of the Q360 program, definitely aware of Matt. Those programs are late to the game. Those programs need to be instituted day one, not year one or year 2, year 3. That's what we've done at Community Corrections. You have to take a system and turn it on its head. You have to bring in community partners that you normally don't associate with. You have to bring in people that don't think and act like you. You have to bring in peers that you arrested last year that are now treating your clients. Our reentry program is vital to reducing recidivism. Medicated assisted treatment is vital to reducing recidivism. Harm reduction strategies are vital to reducing recidivism. These things are being done at a surface level. Under my leadership, under my administration, we will take what we've done at Community Corrections, the ecosystem that we have built for justice-involved individuals suffering with mental health and substance use, and we will bring that into the Tippecanoe County Jail. We'll make it so when you transition from the jail to Community Corrections or to probation, it's seamless, so you don't get lost in the cracks. So when you walk out the door, you have a glimmer of hope. You have that hand that reaches out to you that says, come with me, I'm here to walk with you. That we walk arm in arm, not stand toe in toe with the individuals that we are charged with the custody and care of.
Okay, thank you. Now it's time for closing statements, and because this is live television, I'm going to ask you each to keep those to 30 seconds apiece for your final pitch.
Final pitch at 30 seconds?
Yes.
All right. Let's see if we can do this. Don't take that off my time. 4 years ago, many of you voted for me because you knew me. You knew my experience, my work ethic, and my leadership ability. You took a chance on me. This time, I'm not asking you to take a chance. I'm asking you to trust me. Look at what we've been able to accomplish and trust under my leadership, our team, the great men and women of the Tippecanoe County Sheriff's Office, will continue moving in the right direction and give you a safer community to live and work in. I'm proud to have overseen many positive changes in my first term as sheriff, and I look forward to continuing to serve as your sheriff again. Thank you.
Mr. Huber?
I see this election not unlike the efforts of our U.S. military when it collectively holds the American flag across an NFL field. Every member holding that flag represents a citizen, a mayor, a trustee, a clerk, a judge, a commissioner, a sheriff, all holding tight, pulling unison that flag high and waving. There are those that may drop the flag, those that may kneel, those that may even refuse to grab. I'm asking you to grab with me. I'm asking you to hold tight, arm in arm, as we work together to respect each other and to honor the rights and freedoms we all want preserved.
Thank you. Very nicely done to both of you. Thank you for joining us. The election is